Hello. So I wanted to speak to you today about a phrase that we use called control and management. It doesn't fix any of your training problems or the issues that you're trying to fix with your dogs, but there's often little things we can do to prevent the behaviour getting any worse. And then alongside that, we do our training to fix the actual problem. So training is a journey, it takes time. It takes, depending on what it is and how much time you've got and how motivated your dog is, it can take days, weeks, sometimes months to actually fix the training. But using control and management can immediately stop the behaviour from getting any worse. So I know it's a bit of a cliche, but practice makes perfect. If your dog is frequently practicing the undesirable behaviour, then they're going to get more and more perfect at doing the undesirable behaviour. So control and management options, I'm going to try and run through a few off the top of my head. Dogs greeting people at the front door, getting overexcited, jumping over visitors. To try and do your training when the visitor has arrived, in that situation for that dog has probably got super excited and they're jumping up and down. You're then going to fall into that trap of using your punishment, because you're going to be saying no, off, down, and you're going to be pushing your dog away. So to stop the behaviour from getting worse in that situation, you would perhaps use a stair gate, for example. Pop a stair gate across the kitchen door or another room, depending on the layout of your house, and pop the dog in another room so that visitors can come through your front door. You can then wait until the dog's a bit calmer before you let them out. So that stops them practicing that undesirable behaviour of jumping up all over your visitors at the front door, because that's the hot spot. That's where the undesirable behaviour is happening. Then your long-term plan, because your long-term plan is that you don't perhaps want to use a stair gate, or you would like your dogs to learn better behaviours. So your long-term plan would be then to train your dog how to greet. So for example, we do 4 paws on the floor. So the humans only interact with the dog if 4 paws are on the floor. And you would teach that out of context. Don't try and teach it when your visitors have arrived and the doorbell's just gone and the dog's all super excited. Practice it out of context. When it's just you and your dog and your family there, practice the behaviour you do want your dog to do. So perhaps I'd like my dog to sit on a mat in the hallway. Practice that. Practice 1 step walking towards the door, 3 steps walking towards the door, 3 steps 3 seconds, 3 steps 5 seconds, 5 steps the sound of the doorbell coming back, and build it up to what you're aiming for, so that eventually the sound of the doorbell ringing means your dog goes to the mat and waits. That's going to take time to achieve that though. So control and management in that situation would be popping a stair gate across the door, closing a door. Some clients we've had the sound of the doorbell means run out the back garden, just to get the dog away from that hot spot so that they can't practice the undesirable behaviour through my training process, because that's going to take time. There's no magic pill to fix that problem overnight. That you're going to have to dedicate some time for a long-term plan. Another situation, recall. I know we love to see our dogs running off the lead and playing around off lead, and it can be really frustrating when most of the time your dog comes back, but those times when they don't come back, and then the trainer says to you, well, if your recall isn't quite there yet, isn't quite proofed, you may need to consider using a long line. And I know people go, oh, I don't want to use a long line on my dog. We love to see them playing around. It's only going to take 1 time for your recall to fail in the most catastrophic way. So consider a long line as your temporary control and management, and then think to yourself, now when I go out, I'm going to actually practice my recall and add in the distractions. The trick with the long line is, so we use 50-foot ones, the trick is don't let the dog have the full 50 foot at first. They kind of have to build up to it. So if your dog can recall from 10 foot from it, and then you've got other dogs, you add in your distractions, other dogs playing around, cyclists, children, whatever your dog's things are that worries them. Once you've succeeded that, then you can start building up to 20 foot, 25, and you give them gradually build up that distance as they get better. So you put them through those layers again as they achieve. Another example for control and management, window film. I use window film and I recommend it to a lot of clients. It's a game changer for dogs that bark outside the windows. You may not want to live the rest of your life with window film on your door, or on your windows, but as a temporary fix to stop your dog from seeing people walking past, you can just get this cheap as chips, these rolls of window film, a couple of pounds to buy the plain ones, or you can get really pretty ones. It doesn't block any light, so it doesn't affect you as living in the house, but it blurs the vision for the dog looking out. So put your window film up over a couple of foot or so where the dog can see out. Now they can't see out the window, so now they're not able to do that undesirable behaviour. Then your long-term plan is, because eventually maybe you don't want window film over your windows, so your long-term plan is to come up with a training solution of what your dog does when they see people walking past. And I've spoken about this in the reactive dog, or in the barking video, sorry, not reactive dogs, in the My Dog Barks at Things video. So a common one that we teach is every time the dog spots a human outside, what do you want your dog to do? At the moment they may be bark, bark, bark. What would you like them to do? I'd like them to come and find the human. Come and find the human and be reinforced. As if to say, I've found a human over there. Can I have me £20 note from you? Found one. Turn it into a game. Doesn't have to be training. So it stops that undesirable behaviour from getting any worse. Any other quick fixes I can think of? Leaving the radio on doesn't solve the problem. You may not want to have the radio on overnight, but if it stops, it just drowns out those noises and just stops your dog from hearing the foxes or the strange noises that are going on. Just to dull out that bit of background noise, it helps in that it stops it from getting any worse. So it stops the behaviour immediately, and then you need a long-term plan to actually fix it. So yeah, okay, leave some comments or some messages about what you may need help with, and if there's a quick control and management, and then perhaps we can have a think about what the long-term training plan would be, so that you're not living your life always behind a stairgate or always behind window film. Shutting curtains, I've had some people, they didn't want to put the window film up, so we had their curtains shut and the blinds closed. Well, they don't want to live the rest of their life in darkness, but that's done just for the first month of the training to stop the dog from doing the barking and running along the windowsill. It stops that from happening, and then our long-term plan is that we came up with a better solution, so now they can have their blinds up and their curtains open. Okay, control and management. Think about the easy things you can do to help stop the behaviour from getting any worse, and then let me know and we can come up with a more long-term training plan to actually fix it long-term. info.hairypoppins@gmail.com